This looks
Oh
like
no,
it's,
yeah.
yeah,
So
it's just like
so
a travel
this
trip.
is, one of the things that, again, that I've always been interested in is travel. And I think that photography lends itself well to somebody who likes to travel, because it's the nice thing about traveling is it brings you out of what you're used to,
Mm.
especially visually. So you're in a new place with new things, and you see things in a fresh eye, if you will. And one of my favorite spots to travel has been Cuba. And so I shot tons of stuff in Cuba. My last trip there, this was one shot that I just really loved. And, basically, you can walk down a street in Havana, and everywhere you look is a beautiful photograph. And sometimes you're pleasantly surprised. And as I was walking down the street, there's this little sort of alleyway, and you poke your head in, and here was this great little yellow car with this red shroud partially covering it, but this little red tail light sticking out. And the alleyway is a bit run down, and it's these sort of cement and concrete walls and surfaces with this bright splash of red. And for me, it's just this happy encounter. You have to be looking, you have to be able to see things, but sometimes you're just given this gift, and I think I titled this photo Toro, the bull, because it's like this bull going through the red cape. But yeah, just one of those shots that sort of says, there's a great picture everywhere if you look. I have a really good friend, somebody that I really look up to, and is so talented as a photographer. His name's George Weber, and I've gone to a lot of his talks, and he does a lot of street photography and photographing sort of marginalized people and what have you. And he always said, he always asks his subject when he meets them if he could take their picture, and sometimes they say no. And he always said, and I'll never forget this. He says, "Don't worry, because just walk around the corner and there's another photo waiting for you." And I love that, right? And so that's what this shot for me is. You're walking and you look to your left, and boom, you're just struck with just this amazing visual.
That's great. That's great. Was this shot? What was the shot with?
This is shot with my iPhone.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. And again, like I say, iPhones now have capability photographically of um, doing way more than even my very first digital SLR did. I think my first digital was a Nikon. It was 6.3 megapixel or something. And now the average, I mean, the phone that I have is not even the latest model, and it's, I think, a 14 megapixel photo. But again, what this says is the great thing about this shot is what it's of. And I was lucky enough to have a tool with me, my camera phone, that captured it in the way that I wanted to capture it.
That's a really beautiful thing, that the art of photography is now um, accessible to everybody.
Yes,
You
yes,
know?
I love that. There's people out there who will say, well, it cheapens photography and it makes it less important, and now anybody can be a photographer. And I think those are all, the fact that everybody can be a photographer is just a great thing. Um, the important thing to remember is not every photograph is a great photograph, right?
Mhm.
And even there's still days I'll go out and you'll take a picture, you go, oh, didn't quite capture everything I needed it to, but I could try again. And I love, that's why I love Instagram. It's sort of this democratization of photography, and it sort of allows anybody to be able to try to communicate with somebody else with a photograph. And I
Mm.
think that's always a good thing. So I'm all for social media and iPhone cameras and all of that stuff.
Just, and like you said, not every photograph's a good photograph, but
Yeah.
also just because everybody can be a photographer doesn't mean everybody will be,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, it gives opportunity maybe for people to discover that that's what they want to do without having to go to shop class and take a unit in photo. They can try with their phone, and if it's something they enjoy, holy smokes, well, there it is. You've got all you need. You've got
Mhm.
the desire, you've got the camera, and you've got a place to exhibit. And I think those are all great.